We're nearing the end of thinning what we call the airport, Red Pine Plantation here at Wolf Lake Camp. What the Hartleys used to use as an airport before we bought the property from them, and we planted it immediately in Red Pine. And that was going on 40 years ago. We decided to cut this in long strips and then thin in between the strips. And these strips have to be straight, and so Ross is doing everything he can to keep the strips as straight as he can. We've got to get all the way from that end to that end, and it's a quarter mile. It's a long way to go, but that's the way we want to do it. We could have cut it at diagonals, but we really didn't have the room to work on the edges then to process the wood once it's been pulled out. So there's a lot of things going on here to have to make this right. Ross is laying the trees that he's cutting into skids or drags for the skidder, so the skidder can back up and just drag them all. We're leaving the limbs and the tops on until the final step, which is way down on that end. And then it's going to go through a processor head, and we're going to cut saw bolts out of it to make lumber. And the tops will be chipped into biomass for wood-based energy, steam and electricity. This is a slow machine, but it's an extremely effective machine. Ross is here alone, and the machine is running well. It's a low fuel consumption and fairly low maintenance machine. So even though we're not moving fast, we're moving very effectively, and our costs are under control. Ross is an exceptional operator too, and so just being able to be here and not be pressured by having the other equipment right on top of him is a help. He can really focus on doing what he's best at doing, which is making really good cutting decisions. There's a saw head here. It's a nice, clean, quiet cut. This is the before, and then this is the after. We're going to have a lot of room for these remaining trees, which are the best trees, now to grow into really superior trees. And we're going to start to get white pine infiltrating the site. It couldn't before, there just wasn't enough sunlight. But on this edge, there's enough sunlight that you can see even before we thinned it. In some of the naturally thinner areas, the white pine started to come in, and there's all kinds of it on the ground. So there's a tremendous seed source nearby. There's all kinds of white pine over there around Circle Lake. And then we even have some white pine that is almost as big as the red pine because it grew in at the time, or seeded in at the time that the white pine was planted. So this is not going to remain a single age, single species site. This is going to become a mixed species and mixed age site, like we've done in quite a few other places where we've either naturally let the white pine come into the thinned red pine, or we'll supplement with planted white pine. But here, as in most places now, we're relying on natural regeneration. So we're almost done with this project. We're 80% of the way done with the felling, and then the skidding and the processing is going to go fast.